back on the escalator again.
Leave it alone. What?
Comics.
What are you?
I'm Batman.
TV and movies. Wrestling. Music.
We are just getting started!
Finally, a podcast about things you actually care about, hosted by a couple of guys who actually care about those things too.
What? Did we just become best friends?
Yep. Maybe a little too much.
Yes, that's awesome.
The talented one, Chris Machete.
That no-talent ass clown became famous.
And Brenton, you know, that guy from your other favorite podcast.
I liked it. I was good at it.
So grab onto the handrail and don't let go.
There's a little boy caught the escalator!
This is the Kids on the Escalator podcast. Woo! Here's CM and BD.
Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. The show is about to begin.
Hey.
Okay, so we're live on here, but you're also live on your TikTok. What's going on there? You hit that 1,000 mark, that 1,000 person mark?
There's our TikTok going on there. But yeah, we're right here. Hey guys, so we're live here on TikTok and live on the Kids on the Escalator podcast.
Tickety talk. The grown-ups are making the best content on the TikTok, and that's where Chris Machete, you can find him on there, as well as you can find us on the Dean Bill and Dell Network and kidsontheescalator.com. As you can tell right there, fancy new website that's up there running with all of our past episodes and all the fun stuff. We got a packed show today. Let me tell you something, man. We're going to talk about the wonderful city that you live in called Kingston, Ontario, not Kingston, Jamaica, which is also wonderful, a little bit violent.
Kingston, Jamaica. Have you ever been there, Kingston, Jamaica?
I have been to Ocho Rios, which is where we got married around the corner from there. But
wow.
You
should get remarried and bring a whole bunch of friends to a place like that.
That's not a bad plan. I will invite friends.
Then you pay for it.
Anyone that appears on the podcast today is welcome to come to Jamaica.
Wow.
Because it is our 15th anniversary coming up. How about that stuff? That's coming up. Yeah. So
that's a good one, dude.
Yeah. So we're going to do that. Man, we got some guests. We got some people.
We do have some guests tonight. We got some really good ones. When you say them, I'm going to echo them out so that people live here at TikTok. So who do we have on the show tonight? Well, so far,
the TikTok. All right. So
TikTok. Let's
go with, we're going to go with a friend of ours who has been on the show a few times. Welcome, Jeff from the band Moist. Jeff,
all right. So
there he is right there.
There he
Jeff,
is.
How are you, sir?
There
he is.
How are you?
I'm very good. We need a little bit more volume out of you, my man. But
excellent. So just for our TikTok viewers, we have now Jeff Pearce from Moist on here, bass player. So
not to be outdone, one of my favorite drummers on this fine planet of ours. Big inspiration to me over the years. Big help for me. Also played on Chris and I's first record, which is probably, I'm just gonna say, likely the best drumming he's ever done is on our album.
And most fun band he's ever
most fun band he's ever been in. Everything, the whole shebang. This is Dale Harrison, formerly the Headstones. All around great guy. How are you, sir? What's going on there?
I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm really, really good.
Yeah.
I'm really, really good.
I had a great time doing that record. It was probably the most fine drumming I've done too.
There, see, yeah.
And say hi to Jeff. I'm sure you played.
Dale, how are you? What's going on? It's been a while, man.
Good to see you.
Yeah.
Have you guys shared the stage before? Headstones and Moist?
Oh yeah,
we toured a lot back in the day, huh?
Yeah, absolutely.
Tons of shows together, and then we also have a friend of ours on here who puts on concerts and does things.
Runs the music scene in Kingston.
Has probably put on shows for. Well, probably has put on shows for every single person sitting on this panel right now in some capacity, including showing amazing movies at the Kingston Film Festival. Please welcome Marc Garniss to the mix, otherwise known as Mario Lemieux.
Since we saw him last too.
Hey guys.
Yeah, he's got some kind of. Let's get him kind of. What's going on? He's got the basement going on here. He's got the wood paneling.
It was a bit of an upgrade. I think last time, I forget what your comment was. I looked like I was in the basement of Blair Witch Project or something.
That was funny.
I see you've also doubled down on your audio. Sarcasm.
Okay, good.
Sarcasm. Anyways, gentlemen, welcome to the show. We are talking about the wonderful town of Kingston, Ontario today, which, three of the people on this panel currently live there. Somebody has played a whole shit ton of shows on there. and I just like to visit there. So there we go. We're expecting John from Kingston Live as well at some point. But gentlemen, welcome to the show. I'm glad you guys could make the time and joined us today. Welcome back to the show, because you all are all repeating customers to the show, which we love very much. Thanks for the support. Why don't you do a little roundtable introduction outside of what I've done? Jeff, what's happening, buddy? How you been? What you been up to?
I've been good. How's the audio right now? I may have had my
fantastic.
Okay, good. Life is good. We've done one Moist show in the last 2 years, which was awesome. We did a Blues Fest in Ottawa in September, and it was really great to get back on a stage and play again. So that was cool. And everything else is fine. We've got this new record that we've been sitting on now for 18 months that continues to get pushed back. And we talked about it the last 2 times that I was on, and it's still being pushed back. And we thought we were going to put it out now in the middle of January. But now we're having a bit of an issue with vinyl, and that might push it back again. So,
getting it done on vinyl, and it's just not producing properly. Is that the idea?
That's exactly it. There's a bit of a backlog in the vinyl supply chain thing. So we want the vinyl to come out at the same time as the CD and the streaming's available. So we're kind of crossing our fingers and seeing how that goes. But we're not a big. If it comes out in January or February or April or whenever, it doesn't really matter. We'll be happy to get it out when it comes out.
Nice.
Thanks for joining us, buddy. Mark, what's happening, sir? Good to see you again. What have you been up to, man? What's happening?
Yeah, we're same thing with us, Jeff. We've recorded an album, a compilation album for KPP during the pandemic when nobody was playing shows. We actually had 10 different artists come in and record an acoustic track, and we were going to press it to vinyl, but we don't know when we're going to see that. We're told sometime in 2022. That's as much as they've told us. But yeah, live music's back. That's for sure. Everybody seems to want to hit the road, and we've maybe done 10 shows, I think, now that things have reopened, and maybe 3 or 4 for some bigger touring bands, and then the rest has been more local stuff. But yeah, I mean, just looking at the stuff that's already been announced for 2022 and the stuff that hasn't been announced, I think every band that is in existence has decided to hit the road in 2022. So yeah, so long as we can keep things moving in the right way, I think it's going to be a good year for music.
And the guy in front of all the gold records, Dale, what's up, buddy? What have you been doing?
I know, I feel so silly now. Oh, so what's been happening? This year was pretty quiet. Started playing in August for a few shows, Ride for Sight, and show at the Phoenix, and a couple things with the Blushing Brides. I've been filling that chair for Sasha, that's injured his back, and who knows, maybe I've done some more recording with Maurice from the Brides as well, with my new project that I called 6 Foot Social Band. Again, stemmed from COVID. We're all sitting around going, what are we going to do? There's no shows happening. We're stuck inside. So just started doing that. And, I'm looking forward to 2022 because, it's been a hell of 18, 20 months going on now that things have been stifled. And most of my work was really in the US with Classic Albums Live. And so there was no border crossings. There's no WEC. But that's very promising. Just released a single a few weeks ago, again with 6 Foot Social Band called You Know What You Know. It's a long road, so that's fun. So
I wonder if that's the same Sasha that we worked with Jim Huff. Didn't he used to have him as a session drummer?
It could be,
remember?
Yeah.
Back in the day,
it was him because he was back with the Platinum Blonde back in the days too.
That was it. That's the guy.
Right. That was the guy.
Yeah.
Right. Huh?
That's the guy.
Yeah, so things are coming in, starting to come back. So I'm pretty happy about that. Looking forward to that new Moist record.
Thanks.
I think Jeff's looking forward to that new Moist record.
Just put it out. You got to.
The funny thing is that one great thing about the world we live in is that we've actually managed to. We actually have 4 songs that are available now for streaming on the thing. So we keep on. We keep on having release dates, and we keep on having the idea of putting out a song, and that date keeps on coming and going, but the song gets out there. So So 4 of the 10 songs are actually available for people to hear, but I'm looking forward to people hearing it together as a full package. So,
and getting out and playing shows, man.
Well, that too, man. I can't even tell you. Yeah.
It's a good thing you got a promoter on this show that can help you with that. Hey, Mark. That's what's going on. Okay, so we've all played shows in Kingston. We've all done stuff. We know the list. So Kingston, has this reputation of being a hockey town thanks to our friend Don Cherry.
Doug Gilmore,
Doug Gilmour and those guys that like to talk about, Kingston, everyone's from Kingston, Doug Gilmour from Kingston, and Southern Ontario loves their heroes. So if Doug Gilmour is from Kingston, then Kingston is now the celeb town. And that's the second he joined the Leafs as a member of Kingston instantly got status amongst all the other towns over Belleville, over everything else. It was like, oh, Doug Gilmour's from Kingston. Well, then we love Kingston. That's just how it works. But it's known for much more than hockey. There's some of the biggest bands in this country have produced out of there. We've got movies and film being filmed out of there and done. And let me just run you the list for a minute. This is just 10 lists of people.
Yeah, that's a list.
10 lists of people. Now, I was wondering if there was a top 10 list of famous Kingstonians. Apparently, there's only 8. So we're adding Jeff to this mix here for 9, even though you're in Kingston now. I don't know if you're from Kingston, Jeff, but you live there now. So there you go.
I am.
Mark, you get 10 just because you do so much work.
I squeak in, eh? All right.
So coming in at number 10 is Marc Garniss, everybody. So Mark, I'll give you a little brief history on Mark. So Mark started KPP after he spent a lot of time with Mr. Machete. He was like, that band is incredible. That band is going places. And we heard that they had Dale from the Headstones on their record. I don't know if we're going to be able to afford them. I better start a concert company and get in on the ground floor. And he did. And now he's turned it into giant things. Is that close, Mark? Am I close?
Yeah, I would say that's pretty accurate. We booked you guys among the first bands that we ever had here, like over 20 years ago now. And I remember in that first wave of bands that came around, like you guys had That's the Hero with you. Like they were young, like not even driving age young.
The parents are with them, right?
The parents were with them, and they were under a different band name. And
Happy Go Lucky.
Yeah.
Happy Go Lucky.
Yep. Which I still have that. I think it's a picture of Chris on the front cover falling into a thing of Marshall Stacks.
Yeah, right? With a mask on and a crowbar. That's it.
Yeah. So anyways, we kind of like never really meant to be concert promoters. Like, so we were in a band playing those shows with you guys just because nobody would book our band here. So that's why we became concert promoters. It was just to get shows for our metal band that nobody would book. So, I quickly learned that we couldn't play every week. We couldn't play all the shows. So we started doing shows for other bands just touring through. And then we think people got wind of the fact that we would do just rock and not straight up metal. So we did early shows for Arkells and bands like that have, now maybe Canada's biggest band. So, it was all on the go though. I don't know if you can can you go to school even for something like that? I'm not sure. It's
funny. That's how I started on the concert side. Cause I was like, I got to find bands that'll allow us to open up for them other than the Headstones.
Exactly.
So that was Dale was like at every show, are you coming? We're playing here in Lindsay. Are you coming? I'm like, is there room? He's like, we'll give you a Subway and pizza. I'm like, we're on the way. So that was, coming in at number 10 was Marc Garniss. Coming in at number 9 is Jeff Pearce. So Jeff, if I'm just reading your Wikipedia here, it says here you ran for mayor.
Ran
for mayor. Dan Aykroyd got the idea for Ghostbusters from you over coffee. That's interesting. I got that part of it.
Yeah, that's true.
And you produced all the Tragically Hip records. So this is just off your This is off your Wikipedia. So I'm assuming it's true, but coming in at number 9 as most famous Kingstonian is Jeff Pearce. Are we close on that one?
Yeah, actually, I there's another band before the Tragically Hip that was just called The Hip, and I produced all of their records tragically. That's the mistake there in the Wikipedia thing. So so I'm actually a Kingstonian as well. I moved to Kingston when I was merely 2 weeks old. I can barely remember because I was so young, but I think it was 2 weeks old is the true story.
Jeff, I could have slid you into the top 5, but it's pretty stacked. So I'm gonna, if you're fine being, okay. Well, let's go. We're gonna go with so just beneath you at number 8, and this again, 8, 7, and 6. You could have been in any of these. There was 2 open spots, so we threw you into number 9. Kirk Muller at number 8. There again with the hockey. Okay, again with the hockey. Sarah Harmer, the great Sarah Harmer.
Oh, fantastic. Right. We did a show for her last year, a couple years ago. We were on her show, right, Mark?
Yeah, we did. Yep.
Yeah, she's wonderful. Of course, Doug Gilmour. We talked about Doug Gilmour in there, hockey player who had the shortest comeback in the history of Leaf comebacks. By the way, when he had the leg injury, and that was
he jumped over the boards, and then that was it.
Okay, your top 5.
All right, here we go.
Which is by perspective, but Gord Downie in at number 5.
Okay.
Gord Downie he's listed as a celeb from there, even though the whole band is from there. But Gord Downey's coming in at number 5. Don Cherry in at number 4. A lot of people might not know this. Brian Adams in at number 3.
Ah, right. For how long? Yeah, he was here for a minute or two. It was quick, right?
Yeah, it was a minute.
He went to a rival high school in Ottawa, so he was there for a while.
Wow. Yeah, because his parents were military.
Right? Yeah, he's probably bouncing around a lot.
Number 2. We had Dan Aykroyd, who got all his ideas from Jeff. So I think that those two should switch. And then just some little dude named Sir John A McDonald. So only one of our, fearless leaders. So that's your top 10 list. Mark,
there we go.
Mark
right on.
Jeff, I hope you're feeling good about being on that list.
Pretty good.
Yeah, Mark, you got in there. That's awesome.
Yeah. I want to recount though.
Any plans on running for prime minister, Jeff?
I'm not Scottish enough. So.
Gentlemen, so anyways, so the town is known for more than hockey. It's got a deep history rooted in music and all the rest of it. Dale, we were talking off air before this started about Jeff. Is it true that Moist, there's more members of Moist from Kingston?
Isn't David Usher from there too?
Yeah, no, 3 of the 5 original Moist members are actually went to high school near here and grew up here. I'm from a place called Amherst Island, which is about 20 miles west of here. And I went to Napanee for high school, but David and Kevin grew up in the actual city and went to KC and LC respectively. And then Mark and I actually met at Queens. That's where we met. So even though Mark's actually from Toronto, it was when he was living in Kingston that we started playing together musically, and that's been a relationship that's lasted almost 30 years now. So
you guys all came up together quite a lot. I mean, a lot of people I don't realize that. I mean, I guess, was there any kind of envy in town as far as look at how huge the Hip got so fast and we got to catch up, or was it one of those? Was envy there? Or was it
it wasn't envy. We were inspired by them. We were I remember the first time I saw the Hip, they still had the saxophone player. They were playing the Terrapin Tavern, which is now the Toucan. It has been the Toucan for 30 years as well. And there was 30 people in the room, and we were like, wow, this is really good, and we thought it was really cool. And that was actually even before Mark and my first band we had formed, and they sort of, it wasn't envy as much as it was, wow, if these guys can do it, then maybe we can too, or maybe we can do something. And we followed their we felt like we were taken along for the ride with their career, because we started off seeing them in such small places and watched them grow into what they were. And David has a really close connection with the guys in the Hip as well, because they went to KC with him, so he knew them all relatively well as well. So
that's quite something. I mean, it was there was this Toronto scene. Dale, you were Ottawa, right? So you would have shared radio waves with Kingston a little bit at that point.
Definitely did. Yeah.
What was that radio station again you were mentioning?
Shea 106.
There you go, Shea 106.
Yeah, yes. Shea 106. I guess the Bear came along later on. I mean, but when I was growing up at Shea 106, man, listening to pictures, Rush stuff coming out. Oh, we're gonna listen to the new Wave album that's happening right now, and Yeah, and when I joined the Headstones, that was the funny thing that Hugh and I had in common, because we shared the same kind of radio growing up. So we knew all the same songs. So when we were thinking about covers or doing other things like that, it was something that we had in common. Him being from Kingston as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I like it. So, that time was really interesting because Toronto had its scene, you know, and you could break on Queen Street, and it had its own mix of bands. I Mother Earth, Our Lady Peace, kind of those bands that came out of that Toronto scene. And then there was this Kingston scene, and then there was like this London Windsor scene with like the Tea Party. Every kind of place had their scene. It's interesting to me, like the focus on, oh, we got to focus on Kingston right now. All these bands are coming out of Kingston. Oh, okay, that's good. We've got 4 bands out of there. Now we're going to move to London. And now we got 4 bands out of there, and then we're going to go here. We're going to go there. It was a very interesting time in the early 90s for that.
Yeah, that indie scene, the Canadian indie scene was really cool. It was a really good time in music. I think everybody on the screen here was a part of it as well, which is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Well, 2 of the people on the screen were in giant bands, so
I've just been a part of it.
That's right. That's right.
Well, before we were giant, we were definitely indie as well. So.
There you go, right?
And I also think it's fair to point out, just for the historians out there, that even though 3 of us are from Kingston, we were a Vancouver band. It's in Vancouver that we started. We knew each other before, but it was in Vancouver that we formed the band, and started doing our thing. So even though I'm from Kingston, David's from Kingston, Kevin's from Kingston, Mark spent a lot of time in Kingston, Moist is originally a Vancouver band.
Interesting. And then now you got Montreal roots. You're all over this country. You truly are Canadian.
Absolutely.
All the way around. It's good. Mark, give us a little Kingston breakdown for you from what you've seen as far as changes in that city when it comes to the scene, some of these awesome shows either you've put on or that you were privy to and witnessed through the rise of this city, because it's really, I feel like it's a super hip town. So
yeah, like I think venues have always been kind of weird in Kingston. Like I don't think a venue has much more than 4 or 5 years in it before it seems to shut its doors permanently. So that's something I've been witness to over the 20 years, is the venues kind of come and go pretty quick. And there used to be more bands kind of coming and going too, like as they did kind of get to a certain level would move over to Toronto or Montreal, but definitely seeing less of that now, and bands sticking around Kingston more. So I think, you know, like even recently, like the Glorious Sons, they were not that long ago. We had them opening up for The Odds at the Mansion. So the Mansion's a 200 capacity venue. Glorious Sons were the opening band for them, and that must have been like less than 5 years ago now. Wow. And like they were a hardworking band. They were good. They were well practiced. They put on a good show. But I remember at the time, it never dawned on me that they would make such a leap and so quickly either. Like they're up there with Arkells now as like among
they opened for the Stones, man. Yeah,
for sure. So I think seeing that for a lot of the local bands was really inspiring for and giving them reason to stick around Kingston as well, not feeling the need that they had to move to a big city to be seen. So I think that was the one big positive about the Glorious Sons lately, was that they've influenced bands to stay here. Venues are still a little bit all over the place. I don't know. Like I think other markets, or maybe the smaller markets, are the same. I'm always hesitant to like recommend a venue too much here, just in case somebody sees a flaw in it. But yeah, like I mean, we use the Mansion a lot. It survived the pandemic. Ale House, Stages, those places have been there forever. So it's I think we're ready for the music to come back. It's I think right now a good time to be a band in Kingston.
Dale, what's it like playing in Kingston? Let's say off of Smile and Wave, when it was super hot and there's a Kingston show and you're going home. What's it like playing in that town, college town?
We played a lot of different places there. I mean, we played the university, the college, out at the Speedway. I think there was AJ's Hangar.
AJ.
There a lot. with the Cessna airplane inside there. We
Yeah,
played
it's
there
still
a lot.
there.
Is it?
AJ's is still. Is AJ's
No, the airplane is.
The airplane, it's not called AJ's anymore, though.
No, it's called the Ale House now. Yeah.
That's it.
Okay, so they still have bands.
They do. We actually just did a show there a couple weeks ago.
Awesome! Like that was sort of like a staple. We played, like I said, even the Kingston Memorial with the Glorious Sons years ago, and that was a really good show. It was amazing. But I mean, like I said, we just graduated. We'd always go back to Kingston, of course, because he was from Kingston, and that's where the band originated. So that was his hometown. Then my hometown was Ottawa, and we had our hometown Toronto, and I grew up in Winnipeg, so I had another hometown. So. But Kingston was always a fun place to play. Great audiences, always well received, and we always had a blast. I mean, I always got a history lesson from Hugh, and every time we come into town, oh, that's where I used to go and shop, and that's where I went to high school, KC or whatever I think it was. Like, that's where I used to buy drugs. That's where I got whatever was happening there. But I mean, the thing that we're forgetting too is that Kingston has got the pen.
Yes.
I mean, that was what I always thought of Kingston. It was about before. It was like it's the capital city of Ontario. So I mean, and everybody thinks it's Ottawa. So it's kind of funny,
right?
So I always thought about it as the.
There's another fact. Maybe. I mean, I thought Jeff would get that out first, considering he was going to run for mayor. But I guess Dale had to come to the rescue there on that one. But I forgot that it's the capital of the province. That's right. Mm-hmm. That's right. Hey Jeff, coming back and playing hometown shows, is that a nightmare for a band where it's like unlimited guest list and madness, or is it? Do you welcome it?
No. I mean, it's the best because you get to play for your family and friends and for catch up with people you haven't seen. We got really lucky, but it can be painful because of guest list requests and that kind of thing. We got. I got really lucky personally because shortly before the pandemic, 2 summers ago, now we did a free show here in Market Square, and it was
I was there. That was great.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. I'm glad you came down, and it was an amazing show, and it was really cool because my son, who was 9 at the time, came and brought all of his friends and all of his friends' parents.
And they had a blast too. I have to ingest or throw that in there, man. Boy, he was rocking on.
It was really fun. It was so great. And that was back in the day, back in the 90s, playing stages and Ale House and doing open air shows at Queens and playing Grant Hall and all those things. They were all meaningful for us because we had all seen and been to shows in those places. So I remember actually we played the first big show we played in Kingston was playing stages, and that was a big deal for me because the first show when I was living in Kingston, going to Queens, one of the sort of biggest concerts I ever played at, the first time I ever opened for a band was opening for the Pursuit of Happiness with a band that I was in called the Revivers at the time. And so then going back and playing stages, it felt like things had come around for full circle.
Mm-hmm.
All those venues you mentioned, Jeff, after I've said that a lot of venues have come and gone, those 3 that you've mentioned are all still happening.
I know.
Awesome.
Yeah, you don't.
How about the Toucan?
The
Toucan's still there, is it?
Yep.
Toucan is still there as well. Yeah, Toucan is still there too.
Every venue you've played has survived the test of time.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Which is rare because I can tell you out here in Vancouver, there's not a goddamn venue left. You got the Commodore. When I moved out here like 15 years ago, there was Richards, and the Starfish Room had just closed, but there was Richards and the Media Club and all these great development areas, and they're gone. There's the Commodore venue. There's a small place, the Gilmore Red Room. There's these little tiny places, but there's really not a music scene out here anymore. I got to tell you, I mean, the pandemic didn't help, but it's certainly tough to go see a band rise from the Media Club, for the people that are familiar out here, but say rise from the Toucan to the Mansion to, AJ's to the Grand. It's the Grand there, right? The Grand Theater. It's the Grand to something else. It's like to watch a band rise through those ranks. It's tough to see out here in Vancouver. You kind of go right from 100 people to 1,000 people.
And if I could jump in for a sec, because there's one thing there's a bunch of actual other bands we haven't even talked about. We haven't talked about the Mahones and Weeping Tile and Bedouin Soundclash and all these other bands that started here. And I think that what I found when I lived here when Mark and I were playing in our first band here, and Kevin was in another band that was sort of like a rival band, but we were all friends and we lived around the corner from each other and we all hung out. And the thing about the scene at that time, being the late 80s, is that there were a dozen places where you could play. And there were places that might only hold 30 or 50 people, but we were all in university. So bringing 30 or 50 people out to see our band was easy. It was easy to actually bring people out on a Wednesday night or on a Tuesday night because none of us had jobs, and we all had, everyone wanted to go where the cheap beer was and see their friends play in a band. And that's a really unusual situation, I think. And I think that really breeds a really great community, because people wanted to see the bands that their friends were in. Through that, they would see other bands. All the bands were friends. And so through that, there was our band, which I do see as the precursor to Moist, even though there's no direct line. But it's the first band that Mark and I wrote songs together in. And as well, at the same time, Finney from Mahones had his band that was playing around the same time doing his thing, and Weeping Tile was just starting, and Sarah Harmer was doing her thing, and we all had the opportunity to play and to bring people out and see us play, and so we all got practice in our stagecraft, and it was really, really important time, I think.
Was it like that in Ottawa, Dale? I mean, Kingston's just down the street from Ottawa, so you guys in a band or anybody in a band that's trying to get on that 401 scene, was Ottawa? I know we're talking Kingston, but
Ottawa was pretty tight. I mean, you had Barrymore's, Rainbow Downtown was more blues oriented. Penguin, I think there was a place called the Penguin back in the day.
Yeah, we played that.
No, and thanks for mentioning the Mahones, because I was going to throw that in there too, because I haven't seen Finney in a while either. Great bands. But I only played in a band for a couple of years, and I played in one band in Ottawa before I moved to Toronto, because I went to Humber. I studied music, so I just didn't play. So I played with this one band called KOT and I booked us all over the place, wherever we would have us. And exactly like Jeff was saying, it's just like, get all your buddies out there, try to get everybody to pay $3 to $4 to $5 maybe to get in, so we can pay the band, rent a PA, rent a bunch of lights, and have a big party. And that's pretty much what it always was. So, who's come from Ottawa? Alanis Morissette, I guess.
Right.
Bryan Adams did live there for a good chunk of time as well. I'm trying to
Furnace Face.
Furnace Face.
Oh, geez, Furnace Face. Yeah. I remember that band. That band did the video, right? While they were playing.
Yeah, they had videos. They had white suits and spin streamers around. They were a fantastic band. They were so cool. We did a whole day. We opened for Furnace Face on a Canadian tour, and they blew our minds.
Nice.
And then another band from here is the before my time here, but it might have overlapped with you, Jeff, was the Inbreds as well. Weren't they from here?
Yeah, they were. They were two guys, again, Queen students, I think, too. And Mike and what was the other guy's name? Anyway, yeah, they were after our time, but I think actually they played with us on one of our sort of first shows coming back to Kingston in the early 90s. I think they might have opened for us at the Toucan or someplace like that, like when we were just kind of gaining steam. They were really cool. Duo.
Yeah. Has everyone come back, or has anyone actually left? Does Dan Aykroyd still live there? I know maybe the hip guys kicked around. Yeah. Is it sort of one of those towns where they go, but everyone comes back to live too?
Yeah, the hip guys are still here.
Mm-hmm.
I saw Aykroyd.
Three of them are. Yeah.
Aykroyd at the LCBO pre-pandemic. I saw him in with a hat and glasses on. He came out with a shopping cart full of booze with an arc to it.
Nice. Everybody's following.
Attaboy, Dan.
Yes, I think he's just north of Kingston.
He's made, isn't that a song? North of Kingston? I know. He's made a that town into a celeb town. I think SNL didn't hurt.
I believe Aykroyd owned the mansion probably in the 90s or 80s even, and it was I think it was called Aykroyd's actually for a while. And I hear there was I know there's a plane hanging in the ale house, but there was like a car kind of coming out of the front of it, and I don't know if that was an 80s thing. It was before my time, but it's anyways it's stayed a music venue over the years, and now it's the Mansion, actually.
That's awesome. I like the Mansion. It's a nice place.
Which is probably the busiest music venue in town now, I would say.
Really?
Yeah, it's got 2 levels, right?
It's called the Overdrive. You heard the Overdrive in Kingston? What's that like?
Don't know it.
No? No, really? Okay.
Dale got invited to a band. It's like, man, Dale, you got to come out and check us out. We're playing the Overdrive. Dale's like,
well, back in the days when we had all the roadies dragging gear in and out, like this is like taking a gig with some buddies that are playing Black Sabbath, and I was like, oh, I like that stuff anyway, so I did it. And as soon as you get to the venue, you look up and you see a double flight of stairs.
Oh no!
You guys got some people to help me with this gear?
I think that's right. I think that's on Bath, Mark. I think that's
it's like
behind my house, kind of
west.
There's a venue called Overtime. There's a venue called
Overtime. That's it.
The Overtime. That's it. Not Overdrive.
Bath. It's behind us.
It sounds like a hockey venue.
It is. It's got hockey jerseys hanging everywhere.
Yeah.
And like, think if you were going on a non-band night.
The
NHL games playing. Yeah, it's like a sports pub.
Yeah. They get
it
like
is a sports bar.
Full-on Kiss cover bands with like the full-on makeup and all that stuff.
That's why this was a Sabbath tribute band. So
there we go. That's the place, buddy.
That's exactly what it is.
It's fairly close to where I live.
Yeah.
Jeff, you've been there longest as far as in town. Why do you love Kingston?
Let me count the ways. I mean, it's a okay. First of all, it's one of the only, we toured the entire country, and to come across a place where there's still a vibrant downtown is pretty rare. You see a lot of towns have, I'm not going to name names, but there's an awful lot of places in this country where the downtown is kind of boarded up and grotty and not that great, and everyone's sort of moved out to the burbs. And downtown is.
Hey, you want me to start naming towns for you, Jeff? That's fine.
We've all been there. We've all seen them. Kingston's downtown is beautiful and vibrant, and it's got history, and it's got restaurants and bars and theater and everything you could want in it. And I mean, it's a great place. It's university college town between RMC, St. Lawrence, and of course Queens. There's always stuff going on and culture, and it's close to nature. And hey, my parents live here, and my wife lives here, my child lives here, and my good friend Chris lives here. And
hey,
I think I want to move there now.
Yeah, well, you're welcome to.
We got
you
room for you,
should be mayor. You got to run again.
That's right.
Really
you got to run.
Yeah,
Gotta do it.
yeah. I'm gonna hobble Aykroyd this time so that he. I swear he tipped the voting bell. I saw ballot boxes coming out of trucks. So
hi to Adam.
I'm not sure whose vehicle it was, but it looked like a Ghostbusters kind of. It looked like a white kind of hearse painted up type thing. So
that's great.
Hi to Adam Jacket. Hey, buddy, thanks for joining. Appreciate it.
I know Adam's from Oshawa.
Hey, the Schwa. We haven't even gotten into that. That's a
whole other episode of the Oshawa. I think we
episode.
did one in the past, didn't we? In Oshawa Scene Music or Durham?
Yeah, we had Gary on from Lame, and we had some guys.
Anyway, that was good.
Some of those guys.
I saw a news heading that the Dungeon is now reopening under. This is probably for another episode, but you could probably do a full episode on the Dungeon. But the Dungeon reopening under a new venue name in Oshawa. So
wow, that was a great venue, the Dungeon.
Yeah.
It's big. Adam says it's best not to dig too far into Oshawa. Well,
you never know what you're going to find when you start digging in Oshawa.
However, we did meet Dale in Oshawa, and Chris and I, cut our teeth there, and Dale let me play his big giant silver drum kit in Oshawa at the Moon Room, so it'll always hold a dear little spot for us. Mark, you've been there second longest on this panel. So what brought tell me about your Kingston, overall, because you haven't left. You love it. Our fallen brother Zig was like moving there, swore by the town, loved it. So tell us what it's done for you, because you're running concerts there. You're very ingrained in the city. You're running the film festival.
I think that's the thing. Like you can I think move here with a good idea, whether it's you want to run punk shows or a film festival or whatever it is that your idea might be. And I think there's room here to do that and not get lost in the crowd the way you might in Montreal or Toronto. So there's people here that want to go out to events and they want to support businesses and they want to I think they're excited about some of these things that people are doing, and there's enough of a demographic that will have some money that they will spend on these things that you're doing as well. So it's I feel like it's a good chance to not get lost in the crowd. Like there's still microbreweries popping up here, which seems like way late, but they're doing well. And so, if they're in Toronto, I mean, that probably would have been lost in the crowd a decade ago. But yeah, just the film festival that we run here, like people get super excited about it every year, and there's not 10 other film festivals happening here. So it gives us a bit of an opportunity to stand out and do our thing. Same with presenting concerts, Live Nation will come into town and do a lot of the big shows. But other than that, most of them seem to come across our email or a couple people in town, so there's room to do some of these things. And that, I think, for work, that's why I've stuck around here, and obviously like the city on top of that. But I like the fact that you can be creative here and make work out of it.
We do have a couple things coming in from some people. For some reason, our chat is not working so hot right now. A couple hellos. Brian Sanders, veteran from the Gulf War. Brian, how you doing, buddy?
Hey,
huge fan of all the bands that are on here. Fanshawe College is where I was introduced to Moist. Purchased every album since. So there you go, Brian.
Thank you.
Emmett Stutt, who is a production manager, tour manager as well. Loving these guys. There you go. Yvonne, Kingston's one of my favorite cities, filled with culture, history, beauty, and most of my relatives. Lots of fun. And hi to everyone else watching us from there. So thanks so much. There's some kind of, normally we can get the chat up and we can put things in, but
as long as you're catching them and reading them, buddy,
that's picking
good.
up the old Facebook. And I know that our buddy Brian Hopper, Brad Hopper is tuning in, and he had some questions and he can't get them through, and it's a technological nightmare. So anyways, everybody, thanks for tuning in to our Kingston chat, which is great. Chris, you're the new guy in Kingston. The second you moved there, within about a couple of weeks of you there, you're like, oh my God, why did I spend so much time in a town with a foot on my head? And you've excelled there. So tell us about your Kingston experience.
Yeah, I was in a little place called Port Perry that is a great place to visit, but it's tough to live there if you're a musician or if you're a little bit outside the box of what people are used to in that little area, which is fine. But I really felt like I didn't belong there. So then anyway, we sold the old house for a mint, moved out here to Kingston, brand new house, great area. I part-time teacher, so I teach guitar and art, and the public school just took me in right away. I met with the vice principal, and the school just took me in. I was doing benefit things for them, donating some time to do a comic book class for them, and from there I just had students. It was amazing right off the bat. There was no real slow time for my students in between leaving Port Perry and coming here, and then I found that it's just so musical and artistic. This city, it's amazing. It embraces it instead of in a smaller town where they would kind of ostracize you if you were a little bit outside the box. If you didn't have the pickup truck, you didn't watch football every Sunday,
which I know is what you love to do, Chris.
Exactly right. That's
right. Pick up trucks.
I do one sport, and it's hockey, really, basically. And I don't know anything about trucks. But anyway, not that there's anything wrong with that. We have another famous guy we didn't mention who's going for a rip, who I've asked whatever happened to that guy. We can talk about him after. But so coming to Kingston was great for a person like me, and I've been able to. I used to teach 15 kids a day in Port Perry just to make ends meet, because it was such I don't want to go into detail my bills there. Even just the hydro was different. Anyway, I was teaching 15 kids a day there. And on the weekends, that was during the week. And then on the weekends, I would do an art course just to try and stay ahead of, just so I'd have some extra money to go for dinner or anything. There's no word of a lie. That's how much I had to work there. It was ridiculous. So here I have 15 students a week, and I do commissions. Everything is just slowed down. It's great. I'm not having I'm not having those chest problems anymore. I can relax here.
You were raving about that city from the moment you moved there, and I never got the chance to really spend a ton of time there. But I've been there over the years for shows. Dale, Tragically Hip, obviously the most famous band from here. Do you have any memories of playing with them that you can share? Because polarizing band in some cases, because you're either in on the hip or you're not. Usually there's not barely a middle ground. You're either all the way in or all the way up, but no one can deny the sheer power of Gord Downey. Fantastic frontman, one of the best of all time. What's your memories from playing with them?
We had some great memories. I mean, honestly, the first time I ever saw the Hip was in England. We were on tour out that way with 5440 and Big Sugar, and the Hip were out there. I think it was called Canada's Invasion or something, and that was the first time I saw them at the embassy in England. And I guess because he was affiliation with Gord and the rest of the boys, we got to play with them quite frequently after that. So I mean, I'm not sure if we did Kingston. It was like Fort Henry. I think we played there with Moist. It was one of those Edge Fests. But I think the most memorable time was the ACC. We got to open up for them there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was a New Year's thing. So I know they gave us a bunch of champagne. I got the books because they had the books in a calendar and all this other stuff too. And they all came back afterwards and were shooting the shit with us. And really, really cool bunch of guys. I mean, Johnny Faye would come out to some of our shows in England too and stuff. So it's just kind of. I just really grew to love the band. I mean, they're as Canadian as can be. You know, I mean, their content from whatever they're doing, and you like them or not, I mean, they're undeniably one of the most precious things that this country has to offer as far as rock and roll goes. You know, he's a poet. I mean, you listen to what Downey was writing and the music that's put down. I just thank God the music won't go away, and it's a bloody shame that he was taken so soon. You know. But,
yeah,
love to hear, man.
I'm not sold. I'm not sure it's going to happen again when somebody, you know, when he was passing and people kind of knew it and they had to do those last shows. It was quite something. I
didn't see them at the Danforth Music Hall. Just before that was up to all that. And I think it was probably around the time that he was just diagnosed, because they were on fire. The band was amazing. It was amazing. But sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. But
no, it's all good, Jeff.
I'm just getting passionate, man.
Did you do festivals with them? Like, did you tour across the country with them? How many shows have you played with the Hip, and what are your memories of playing with those guys?
No, we actually played exactly 0 shows with the Hip.
Oh wow,
really?
For whatever reason. Yeah, no, we never played with them. I don't know why. We always speculated about it, but we don't exactly know why. But we, like I said, we're all fans. And the good thing about never playing with them is that we shared a lot of crew. So they're, because we never toured at the same time, so we got to use a lot of their backline guys, their lighting guy, occasionally their front of house guy when we were touring, which was a bonus because those are the best guys in the country.
Yeah, they certainly came on in a massive wave. It's been a while since we've seen a band do that, you know. And the pandemic, I think, put the foot on a few of those bands that were waving. I think the Arkells kind of powered through it, but I think JJ Wild, who Taylor's out with, Chris's daughter, has been out with this year.
Well, right now it's funny. Right now she's out with Monster Truck and Big Wreck, and the guys on the crew are all old dudes. They're all old dudes. So she was just out with JJ Wild, all young. Woohoo! We're in our early 20s. We're out rock and roll. To the Big Wreck Monster Truck crew. Now Jeff and Dale and Mark can probably could testify the difference in the vibe between the older crew guys and the younger crew guys. So my daughter is like, "This sucks." Sorry, Taylor, but you know, I'm sure she. I was almost going to indulge on some more information she gave me, but we'll stop there.
Nah, man, our whole tour is filled with grumpy old rock guys. They just want to get to the bed. Yeah, they just want to get to bed.
So my daughter's like, you know, in her early 20s and just loving being on the road, running. She's running the merch for these guys, right? She's the merch manager, and she's loving it. She does it for that other band that I keep forgetting the name in town we were just talking about.
Glorious Sons?
Yes, Glorious Sons. Yes, she also runs merch for them as well. And loves those guys. Were great. She said she was on the bus with them, doing about 4 shows there just a couple of weeks ago, or seems like a couple of weeks ago. And she said they were fantastic guys. Like, couldn't speak. They treated her well. You know, she's, you know, I think there was only one other girl on the tour. They treated her great. But the older guys, she said, are terrible. She said that they're just, you know, they're thinking that because she's a little girl, she doesn't know what she's doing, and so. I'm picturing with these big boxes of merch and me wanting to go in there and with a hockey stick talking.
I told her in classic older, much older person. I was like, suck it up, Buttercup. So there we go.
I told her she had to pay her dues. That's what I said too. I said, Taylor, you're paying your dues. This is,
get out there.
Second tour.
Wait till you tour with Moist. Holy individual rooms.
I heard the bass
it's a whole thing. Don't you know I'm running for mayor? Anyways, Brad Hopper sent in, gents, so great to see you talking about Canada's greatest city. Brad is a paramedic and fireman and everything in town. So thanks for your service, Brad. He also has a little thing for Dale saying, hey, thanks so much for Headstones work over the years. Still one of my favorite bands. There you go. Check out Dale's playing on the first Mr. Machete record. That's where you're going to find the best Dale playing. And Ben, he's got a question for the panel, which is probably a Mark and Jeff question here. And Chris is
not me. I don't eat breakfast.
Chris doesn't eat till 3 p.m. But a big argument: best breakfast place in town, gentlemen. So there we go. This could be up for debate on this one.
Okay, best breakfast. It used to be Lino's. I used to like Lino's, but that's
Lino's.
That's not there anymore. Yeah, you know, right? Okay.
Oh my God, yeah. When I was in university, that was Lino's at 4 a.m. was the spot to be.
Yeah, so I think I only got a couple of years of Lino's. It maybe closed in like 2002 or 3, but I remember it as still probably. I like Peter's Place downtown. I don't know if it's a Lino's, but I tell people to go there. It's similar to a Lino's. I'll throw my vote in for that one.
And good for you to eat breakfast, Mark. Good for you,
yeah,
Jeff.
There you go, buddy.
Jeff, yeah. Do you have a current one, or do you not?
Yeah, I like Peter's Place downtown too, and I like Windmill Cafe. Hang on, what was it called? Windmill.
Either place, you'll never see Chris before 3 p.m.
But I'm a West Ender now, so breakfast for me is all about egg skis in the West End out on Princess Street.
Right on. Yeah, there's some pretty cool breakfast places around here. You know, I've seen them, but I just don't go to them.
Egg ski sounds like a bad hockey nickname.
Egg skis.
Egg skis. Oh, egg skis. Egg skis shot there.
Yeah,
cold beer.
We actually send bands though to the Toucan for breakfast because they've got the sort of infamous $5 breakfast special.
Oh, those are classic.
Which is pretty good, and you usually end up getting a beer or Caesar or something like that too, and it's under $10. So yeah, now that I think about it, I think the Toucan one is the one that we recommend the most, and it's usually bands just want to get a Caesar and a cheap breakfast with some bacon and toast.
I love that, a Caesar and a cheap breakfast.
Yeah, no, that's great. I like that.
Sounds good to me.
That's a good breakfast for me. I like that.
I mean, that is the rock breakfast.
Keep you going in the van till the next venue, right?
Yeah.
Best, and then Brad finally wants to know best spot for a pint, and then we'll let you guys.
I'd say mansion. That's me. I really like the mansion just because of the 2 floors and in the summer the patio. But
yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's so many in Kingston. If I really like the Brew Pub downtown. The mansion's great. The Toucan's great as well. Iron Duke, which used to be the Scherzo for people of that era. It's called the Iron Duke now. I really like that place too. But there's lots. Like, I mean, we would need another top 10 list going here.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome stuff, guys.
Yeah.
The city of Kingston, which, you know, by all accounts has produced some of the best bands in this country, some amazing actors, great story. Sounds like super artsy. It's been great for Chris Machete moving there. Dale played some great shows. Jeff, you're there. Did you ever leave, Jeff, outside of Vancouver, or did you come back to Kingston?
Oh yeah, no, I left for a long time. I left here in '89 to move to Toronto, and then Mark and I moved from there to Vancouver, where we started the band, and then the entire band picked up and moved to Montreal, and then moved from Montreal back to Toronto. And it was only when my wife and I had our son that I realized that maybe big city living was not for me as a parent. And plus I wanted my child to have access to his grandparents. So we moved back here about 8-9 years ago.
Amazing city. Now, Chris told me that you wanted to talk a little bit about this Beatles documentary, which we can get into for a minute here. Has anyone seen this? Dale, have you seen this yet? Because the jury's out on Ringo. People keep calling Ringo one of the best drummers ever, and I'm always loving it. I'm always into this debate. Have you seen this Beatles?
Yeah, I've watched it all. Yeah, yeah. you're referring to like being Ringo. Like I think Ringo's great, man. I don't know what everybody hates him about because he wrote some absolutely incredible parts. I mean, I've done for the classic albums, I've done Abbey Road, the White Album, and I was in the One's Beatles tribute review, playing with orchestras and stuff, and I've had to really learn his stuff like verbatim, and it's not easy. Like some of that earlier stuff, man, he's fast swinging, he's doing some shit that you kind of go, okay, well, and to be able to do that and do it in really good time with the right feel and stuff. Watching the Get Back stuff, it was really kind of cool to be a fly on the wall to hear how some of these songs, just the nucleus started, and I was a little annoyed with some of the things, some of the hangers on, and the Yoko wouldn't leave John's side for the whole time that you're watching it. And I go, I guess that's what their dynamic was, but I think it's definitely worth a watch. If you're a Beatles fan, you definitely should be seeing it. So,
Jeff, you loved it, eh?
I loved it. Yeah, I'm obsessed by it. And the thing I'm obsessed by it about it, I've been talking about this to anyone who listens, is how it's for anybody who's been in a band and has been part of a group of people sitting around in a room trying to bash out songs. It's the same thing they're doing, except the difference is that everything is what they're doing is really good, like way better than anything that we did in Moist. I mean, they're freaking Beatles, but the crazy thing I just can't get my head around is that it's all the hangers on, all the people who are in there, and you've got Paul sitting at the piano, kind of coming up with trying to work out the second verse of Let It Be, and there's some guy standing there going, so do you think we should go to like Tripoli, or what do you think we should do? And Paul's like, oh,
I know.
It's like, just leave him alone. He's like working on an amazing piece of art, and you're talking to him about details, and it just anyway. I just found it enlightening and enthralling, and it kind of reminded me too of why we put. I hate to use Moist and the Beatles in the same sentence, but it kind of reminded me of why we put Moist on hold back in 1999, because it got to the point where we were just trying to be a band, writing songs and doing that thing, and there started to be just a bunch of there started to be so much machinery around it, and people who were not into what we were doing necessarily on an artistic level, but who were always there trying to make suggestions about how video should be or what artwork should look like and that kind of stuff, and just how annoying it got. And I felt for them. Like, I feel like this is why the band, the Beatles, broke up. It wasn't because they didn't like each other. It was because the machine was just so big around them that it stopped being fun. And that's my takeaway. I think everyone's getting a different takeaway from this.
I think a lot of bands are guilty of that, though, all the way around.
Yeah.
Once the machine takes over, it's, I always find it funny when like doing shows. Mark, you can attest to this too. Like, we're doing concerts, some of these biggest concerts in the world. I mean, you're doing all this stuff and it's all about production and opening seats and doing all the rest of it. And everyone forgets that these bands generally started in a basement. Yeah. They just all started in a basement. So, and I always harken back, and I just talked about it today too, that, the business is 95% business and 5% music. And people fight me on it because they're like, no, you can't have the business without the music. I get it. The music is jamming in the basement and then going on stage for 2 hours. But then the rest of it is all like press and hotels and business and bottom line and blah, blah, which you can't have unless you have the music. But once you sign the deal and you get the gold records, then it's sort of like all about the music when you're in the basement. And once you're out of the basement and the hangers are around you, Jeff, and bands are just getting hammered with people giving them opinions, then it becomes about the business and then a little bit about the music. And it's a shame. It's a shame, really. Because there's so many bands that just broke up way too soon, and I think.
Well, one thing I did like about the Get Back thing is like Jeff, you love that they mocked themselves. Paul and Ringo would be they were singing a song where they weren't moving their jaws, and they're just going no. And they went through an entire song into another one, and they would just come up with like really funny ass versions of some of their songs, and that to me was priceless. To be able to watch them do that stuff, or at the beginning of Get Back, Paul's just trying to come up with the riff, and it's like they go, what do you got there going on? He goes, well, we got to write more songs. We've only got 4. We're supposed to have 20. And it's just like, like exactly, they are a real band. They were a real band sitting down, coming up with stuff. I mean, Ringo sitting down, I got the song called Octopus's Garden, you see the evolution of things coming out, and George sitting down, writing a bridge part with him and stuff. It's just amazing. Anyway.
Yeah, I love that part when, sorry, we should be having a beer over this, but I love when they're working on Octopus's Garden and Paul throws in a different chord progression that leads it back to the original thing. And Ringo's like, well, I guess I'll have to write my words then. It's like, yes, you got a lot more words to write. Like, get on it, Ringo. You got a song to compose here.
Two questions to end it then, gentlemen. Two questions to end it then. Let's start first while we're on subject then. Dale, what's your favorite Beatles song?
I always say this to people too, but there's so many amazing songs. But I guess the one that sticks to me the most is A Day in a Life. Of that song, because it's two parts too. But.
Second question: favorite song by a band from Kingston.
Oof.
Yeah, that's a hard one, man. I don't know. I'm gonna have to go with the Hip and say like I don't know. I just loved it all. I can't really. I don't have specific favorite songs for that. That's being copping out, isn't it?
That's copping out. You're not allowed to do that on this show. We're getting paid big bucks by the city of Kingston here. So
right. I'm just trying to think of what my favorite one was.
Back to you in a minute. Jeff, what's your favorite song by a band from Kingston?
I'm going to say El Dorado by the Hip, the last song on Fully Completely. I love that song.
Nice.
Mark?
Holy. I mean, I wanna comb through the metal arsenal of films that I have, or of Kingston CDs that I have, and one's not coming to me right away. So I'll pick a Harmer song, like I don't know, maybe Are You Gone, or I don't know, any Harmer song. I love all our Harmer stuff.
She's fantastic. I really dig her a lot. Chris?
That's nice. Just a funny story about Sarah Harmer there is we did a show before the COVID. Mark and I played the band, and it was her show, and she had this special little area to sit. And my parents and my wife went and sat in her section and got to watch my show with her. So that worked out. And she was so polite to them too. They didn't know my parents are a little older, right? So they just kind of sat in there watching. Hey, folks, they just sat in the area there and watched the show.
She didn't know that Dangerous Dorothy's actually an MMA fighter, Chris's mom.
There you go. But my favorite is anything off the first I Hate Sally album, man.
Hey, all right.
I even saw some of that done acoustically at somebody's wedding, and it was amazingly awesome. It was really, really cool. But anything off that first album, man, that's just memories. That's gold.
So what? Yeah. So I mean, there's a part at 1A. Yeah. So what? Mark's band wrote a song about the episode of Family Ties where Tom Hanks beats up Michael J. Fox.
Yeah, and there was another one. Yeah, that was a good one. Yeah, Don't Hit Alex, or I Hit Alex.
I Hit Alex. So, I mean, for originality, we got to go with that.
It was just the memories that album brings back, because when we were touring with you guys back then when we were all young.
That was great. And a close second, I really love Flamenco by the Hip. I thought Flamenco's a fantastic song by that band. Beautiful little tune, and right up there with Bob Cajun. So, and I was never a massive Hip fan, but those two songs stood out.
Mm-hmm. All right, gentlemen. Sorry, one more.
Yeah.
As far as a favorite album from a Kingston band goes, I really want to make sure people check out Luther Right and the Wrongs when they did the Wall album, bluegrass style. You got to check that out.
Okay.
Luther Right and the Wrongs. Geez, that's cool. That's going back.
Yeah, and Luther's the one that actually organizes that annual holiday show that Chris and I played with Sarah Harmer. It's Luther and Sarah that actually organized that as well. Yeah.
Right on.
Well, gentlemen, this has been a lot of fun. I mean, that city is great, and there's a lot of people from there. But big thing that we wanted to get across is that it's not just a hockey town. There's a lot of talent. There's a lot of music. There's a lot of art going on, and it's a fantastic, fantastic city. That's been great for all of you. So good stuff there. Let's go around the horn for a minute here. Dale, let's tell everyone what you're up to and where they can find you. Let's pick that new song of yours and all the rest of it.
Yeah,
pick the new song. It's a 6 Foot Social Band. It is really just a project with a bunch of friends and stuff that I've taken demos from over the years and recreated them and started recording them. So look for that. There's a new one called You Know What You Know. It's a long road. Coming up in the new year, it'll be a lot of classic albums live shows and Blushing Brides. So that's kind of what I'm doing right now.
Very cool.
Awesome stuff. Jeff, we're going to see a new record from you, yes?
You'll see the new record sometime in 2022, early in 2022, and hopefully a tour soon after that. We're actually supposed to be, last month, we were supposed to be on the road with the Headstones and Sloan and Tea Party.
Right.
That was a big tour that the whole tour got canceled, but hopefully something like that will come up again early in the new year.
Mark, busy guy. Kingston Film Festival, KPP back to the mix here with concerts and all the rest of it. Tell us what's going on.
Yeah, hopefully we can do a show for you, Jeff, in the 2022. So yeah, a lot of shows happening even the rest of this year and into next year. You can check us out at kppconcerts.com. And then, I run the film festival too, and it's happening in March. And we play the best Canadian films of the year. I know we're inquiring about the new Triumph documentary. I don't know if we're going to get it or not. But, and then we've actually been chatting with Hugh a little bit too, because he's been involved in a new TV show that was just shot in the Kingston Pen. So we might do something with that too. But so it runs in March, and you can find out about the film festival at kingcanfilmfest.com.
Beautiful.
Awesome stuff. Gentlemen, this has been the tribute to Kingston. We really appreciate you guys making the time coming back
thanks,
on
guys.
the show. We got lots of nerd talk ahead down the road when we get into
you guys will have to come back for our we have a hit and run Christmas, right? Where people come in for a hit and run Christmas episode and just tell us what kind of toys they used to like to get, what they want to get, memories of those Star Wars toys or G.I. Joes or whatever you're into.
Awesome.
That's right. And if you want to hear the best drumming of all time, make sure you check out Dale replacing all my drum parts on the Mr. Machete record. It's very, very good. And still need a gold record for that. Gentlemen, Chris and I are going to let you go. We'll minimize you for a minute, and then Chris and I will finish up. Stick around for a little post-chat if you want. But
thanks,
that's Dale. That's Jeff. That's Mark. Friends of ours, friends of the show. That has been the tribute to to Kingston, the wonderful, wonderful city in southern Ontario. Along the 401, and if they're not under snow, go up there and see a show, and have a great time. Gentlemen, thanks again. We really appreciate you coming on.
Have a great night, guys. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks, guys.
See you, Mark.
That's another Monday night for Chris and I on the Kids on the Escalator podcast. Appreciate all of our guests coming on. It's always great to see those guys. Amazing. Brad says, thanks again for sharing all the talent for blue collar guys working away and needing entertainment. Well, hey, that's what we're here for. A great time. Kids on the Escalator for another Monday night on the Dean Blundell Network. Catch us over at kidsontheescalator.com. You can check out Chris at Machete Comics. His Etsy store. Buy all the really
we also have
Machete.
Oh, dude, check it out. So www.machetecomics.ca. We got our own store on there. We've got a workshop coming up that you can book through there. It's in-person one, but we also have online ones. So we at Machete Comics have a brand new website, man. And it's putting Skeletron 3 on hold, though, because I'm actually really busy with commissions right now, which is great. But Skeletron 3 it's done, man. Like I say, we've got up to issue 6 done. I just got to get on it. I apologize. I'm actually getting a lot of
it's tough being in demand, brother. It's tough.
I like it though. And we're on live here on TikTok. Right, we've hit 877 here. Thank you, everyone. Cheers. Awesome. And thank you so much, man. That's pretty good, dude.
Yeah, you know, there's a big star on TikTok is Dale Harrison.
Is he really?
This whole thing with his ass that he does, but this is like a kid's show, so we can't really show that. So
okay, well, we won't show that then.
Huge thanks to our guests, kidsontheescalator.com. Thanks to our friends at Dean Blundell for hosting us as always. That is the Kids on the Escalator for a Monday night. Good times.
Rad dudes.
Thanks, everybody.